Hey everybody, so rolling along here with season previews, it's time for the New Jersey Devils. So last year the Devils made the playoffs and were a surprise playoff team for most people. I know I certainly didn't have them making the postseason last year, but they did. Snuck in as a wild card team, lost in the first round to Tampa Bay, but obviously Tampa Bay is an elite NHL team, that's to be expected. New Jersey's trying to build off of that success this season. And to be honest, I have New Jersey missing the playoffs this year. If you saw my season predictions video, I have them being the first team in the East out of the playoffs because I think Florida does make it this year. But New Jersey still, they're a young team, they're a talented team. They certainly have a chance to be a playoff team. Just because I'm picking them not to be doesn't mean they're way out of it. They certainly could be. And they're an interesting group to look at, and they're certainly a team that is building and getting better, and I think that they could have a very bright future ahead of them if they're managed correctly. But anyway, here's what their roster is looking like for this season according to Roster Resource. Top line, we've got Taylor Hall coming off an MVP season, Nico Hischier and Kyle Palmieri. Second line is Johansson, Zacha, and Bratt. Third line, Blake Coleman, Travis Zajac, and Stefan Nason. And your fourth line, Miles Wood, Brian Boyle, and Joseph Anderson. Back end, Andy Green and Sammy Vatanen is your top pair. Then you have Butcher and Severson, and then Mueller and Santini rounding out your top six, with Schneider and Kincaid, your two goaltenders. And your extra forward is Nick Lappin. And they're 8 deep on defense with the signing of Eric Gryba. Ben Lovejoy and Eric Gryba are your extra defensemen. Gryba, we'll see how he ends up. He's struggled to keep an NHL job the last few years, so he's going to have a really good preseason and a good training camp for him to probably get a job in New Jersey. But he's got a chance. You know, when he came into the league with Ottawa, he was looked at as a pretty good young defensive defenseman. His career really hasn't progressed since then much, though, and the last few years, obviously, he's not really stayed in the NHL. So this is a big year, and maybe Eric Gryba's last chance. So let's start in goal. Kincaid ended up carrying the team for much of last year as Schneider battled injuries. And Schneider overall did not have a good year last year. Even when he was healthy, he wasn't great. He needs to have a big-time bounce-back year if New Jersey's going to do anything this season. He needs to be a lot better. Kincaid, very solid backup, but I don't know if he's ready to carry a team in as a full-time starter yet. And I think Schneider would have to be really, really bad to lose that starting job unless he gets hurt again, which has been an issue with him. But decent goaltending, certainly not the best goaltending in the league, but good enough, decent goaltending. Their defense overall, I guess it kind of lacks a little bit of star power, but it is a very solid defense group. And like I said, they're 8 deep. Green is a grizzled veteran. He's been around a long time. Vatanen is a good player, very good offensive defenseman. So those two together make a great pair. You don't have that elite top pair talent there, but you do have a solid top pair there. Then Butcher, really good young defenseman with Severson, another pretty good defenseman. Then Mueller and Santini as your bottom pair, that's fine. And then you have Lovejoy, who could come in at any time. He's been around the league for a long time now. And obviously Gryba, depending on how he does this preseason, he's looking to keep an NHL job for the first time in a while. So their defense, again, much like their goaltending, solid, but not that top level, not that top tier, top 10, but solid. So they're pretty good on defense. Up front, obviously Nico Hischier is trying to make a big jump in his second season. He was a great player for them last year as a rookie. Now he's got a year under his belt, and he's really looking to take that next step as a player. Taylor Hall coming off of an unreal season where he was the MVP. with Kyle Palmieri. Those are two good veteran goal scorers on Heischer's wings, which is going to set him up for success. I like that top line a whole lot. I don't think Hall has an MVP season again. I don't think he repeats as ridiculous as he was last year, but I do think he has a very good season. Second line also good with Pavel Zacha coming in, and he's a young guy who's getting a chance now to really play a top six role for the first time. Marcus Johansson, a very good player when he can stay healthy, and Jesper Bratt on the other side, who was a surprise last year with how good he was. Travis Zajac now, kind of a veteran guy on this team, been in New Jersey for a very long time now, and he's your third line center at this point, and he's a great veteran presence to have around. Blake Coleman and Stefan Nason on his wings, two guys I like a lot and really enjoy watching. And for your fourth line, Brian Boyle, as good of a fourth line center as you're going to get in the NHL, with Miles Wood and this new guy Joseph Anderson on his wings. Can't really complain at all about their forward group. I think they're a very talented group, a young group with some veteran leadership mixed in there. Obviously, Zajac, Boyle, Hall, and Palmieri have been around for a while. Johansson's been around for a while. So it's a good mix of old and young up front. And I think they're a talented group. And, they're pretty... There's no Matt Martin type on this team. There's no fighter like that. There's no Michael Haley, no Cody McLeod, no Matt Martin. But they have pretty good team toughness overall. I mean, Coleman can get into it when he needs to. Zajac even has been known to stick up for his teammates when he's had to. Nason will do it. Miles Wood will do it. Brian Boyle, obviously, he's known for being a guy that will stand up for anyone. Nick Lappin, their extra forward's gotten in a few scraps. On the back end, Severson's fought before. And then Lovejoy can if he needs to. Gryba can be a fighter if he needs to be, although he hasn't been in the NHL lineup for many teams for most of the last few years, but he can be. So there's not that one tough guy on this team, but there's pretty good team toughness. You've got a whole group of guys here that will stand up for each other and for themselves. So don't expect this team to get pushed around, even though they're a pretty young team. So overall, I think they're pretty good. They're right on that cusp of being a playoff team or not, and I have them not making it this year because I think Florida's going to come in and take their spot. But again, they easily could be a playoff team. They are right on that line for me. A good team. They're certainly not a great team up there. They just don't have the lineup, the talent that teams like Tampa Bay and Toronto and Boston do. Pittsburgh, they're not that level. They're right on that cusp of being a playoff team or not, right there with the likes of Florida and Columbus and teams like that. So I think they certainly have a chance to make the playoffs, but they're certainly not a guarantee either. So again, I think their goaltending is good, not great. I think their defense is good, not great. I think their forward group is probably the best as a whole of all three position groups. But again, certainly they don't have the same forward group that Tampa Bay does or Toronto does. So or Pittsburgh especially. They're not at that level yet. So this is a good team, not a great team. I think they're going to be in the playoff picture all year. In the playoff hunt, I mean. But in the end, I don't think they make it. But it's going to be close, and they're still a pretty good team. Even if they don't make the playoffs, it's not going to be by much. They're still a pretty good team, and I definitely think they have a very bright future ahead of them. So that's what I've got on New Jersey. Let me know what you think about the Devils down in the comment section below. Like, comment, share, subscribe, follow on social media. Check out offthewallhockey.com. All those links are down in the description. Keep spreading the word about this channel. Let's keep this thing growing. The more subscribers and views, the better. And thank you very much for watching. I really appreciate it, and I'll talk to you guys soon.